Hey. Welcome to episode 99 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. This week I get the privilege to talk to an amazing guest, and we're going to be talking about some things that people usually shy away from, or often shy away from, because it's so instinctual to always put on a happy face and to just pretend everything's totally fine all the time. And how is your day? Oh, it's good. But life is complex. Yes, it's full of the happy times, but also yes, it's full of immense challenges. So we'll get more into this conversation, but first.
Today's guest, DJ DuRante.
To Awkwardly Awesome Podcast, let me tell you a little about DeeJae. When I think of DeeJae, I think of a kind, stylish, and trend-setting advocate for people as they encounter the challenges of disability, mental health, trauma, and self-acceptance. I used to imagine being an advocate and making a difference required a person to be almost miserably serious. And I did a good job at being miserably serious for a long time. One of the things I deeply admire about DeeJae is her lighthearted approach to the incredible work she does. DeeJae has spent over 20 years working in social services with diverse populations. She is a proud Air Force veteran who worked on the C-130 in Special Operations Squadron. DeeJae is an energetic podcast host who talks with guests about challenging topics and opportunities for growth. The name of her podcast is Let Your Mayhem Be Known. Without further ado, please help me welcome DeeJae. Yay!
Hi, Jason. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, DeeJae. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
So can we jump right in?
Let's go. That's why we're here.
So why Let Your Mayhem Be Known? Like, so many of us want to hide our mayhem and pretend everything's smiley all the time, but
absolutely, that's true. And that's what I worked with, is individuals that were struggling privately with so many different challenges and barriers, whether it was barriers to employment, barriers to services, barriers to opportunities, barriers to information. It was really difficult for them, but they had to act as if nothing's bothering them and everything's fine, and they have the same opportunities than everybody else. And I didn't think that was right. So I started my show. It was more a way of me to provide a opportunity for people to let their mayhem really be shared and share their experiences, because it's a lot harder, and people think that either you're complaining too much or that you shouldn't complain, right? And I think it's okay to ask for help. And I think that we should be sharing how difficult things can be and how intense they can be. And that doesn't mean that you have to like be in a bad mood, or that doesn't mean that, you know, you should just be that negative, pessimistic person. But we have to find hope in things when they are rough, because it's just a period of time. And you know, there are people out there that do want to help and do care, and they do want to see you succeed, and they do understand the intensity or the difficulty in things. So I just like to, I guess I just fell into being an advocate. You know, it's not something that I mean, I didn't realize, right, when you grow up that this is what you're going to be, but that's just the way my heart kind of went, was to say, like, they, you know, different people have different needs, and they deserve the same opportunities as everybody else.
Different people have different needs, and they deserve the same opportunities as everybody else. I guess, I mean, we kind of imagine that there's some normal somewhere out there that where the normal people live, but each and every person is unique with unique needs.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for me, that's one of the most important things, is really focusing on your strengths and what makes you happy and what you're good at and what you naturally is aligned with you, and really not forcing yourself to be something else or forcing yourself to shy away from that, but just acceptance and growth. I feel like it's hard to look internally. It's so scary to confront those things that you may be shamed for from the outside, whether it's a mental health diagnosis or some sort of disability or an experience you've been through that is still within inside of you, right? Even though physically they can't see it. So those things that really are weigh so heavy on our hearts and our minds, I just feel like, you know, those are part of our experiences, and those are part of our daily situations, and they should be accounted for no matter what we're doing or what we're going through. If that makes sense. Just acknowledgement. And I talk about acknowledgement and compassion. I mean, it's not something that we need to focus on, right? Because it's not the focus. It's not focusing on the disability or focusing on the mental health issue or focusing on anything particularly in that manner. But it's more so like understanding yourself and knowing that you can you have what it takes for you. Like your opportunities are your opportunities. You have to seize those opportunities. You want to be able to, you know, and you want to give people hope that they have opportunities in front of them that they possibly didn't see, that they didn't realize, they didn't know.
So it sounds like you're talking about there being a line between owning our mayhem and then focusing exclusively on our mayhem.
Well, if we deny that mayhem, if we deny what we're going through, that does not do us any service either, to live in a state of denial, or is, I think, more hurtful to ourselves and our own personal, I don't know how to say it. So our own personal, like, self-worth. And I want people to understand their self-worth and not give up. We lose so many lives because people feel that hopelessness and they feel like they're not worthy of. So for me, you know, as helping others understand how important self-worth is and helping others feel worthy as well, despite the mayhem, right? Because it's not just about that negative thing that society has told us that that's negative about you, or that's bad about you, or that's not great about you, or that's ugly about you, or that's imperfect about you, or that's awkward about you. Like all those things that they say with this kind of tone that, you know, is not out of kindness. So and you know, I think we can pick up on that. Me and you can pick up on that. And I know lots of people, I've heard so many stories, like, you know how hurtful it is. So I just can't emphasize enough for helping people understand the importance and the power of kindness, or the power of compassion, or the power of just giving somebody an option, or just giving someone the space or the time that they need, because that in itself is so valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How did you come to this place in your journey? I mean, were you just born owning your own mayhem and being able to be confident and be an advocate?
Ooh,
Or,
that's a good one.
or
That's a good one.
was it a journey?
It's always a journey for me, and I really want people to always encourage them to see it as a journey. I think there's so many great quotes out there about, right, it's not about the destination, about the journey, and then our own mindset as we go through things. But for me, I've had to, so there's different levels of mayhem. Let's start there. There's those deep personal mayhem that we still can't open ourselves up to, and then there's the mayhem that is just blatantly obvious.
Yeah, like speech impediment.
Yeah, or like my quirkiness and my, like, you know, fidgetiness that I've always been like, you just move so much and you talk so fast and you're just so, like, calm down, sit down, be quiet, like all those things. And then you're just like trying to be composed and hold yourself and change and shift to fit the mold.
That strikes a deep chord, because my best way to fit the mold would be not to speak, just to smile.
Oh, that would be such a disservice to so many. We need to hear you speak. We need to, right? So it's just, I think hearing your story and listening to what you've been through just is so that much more warming in the world, right? And it just allows so many others to be like, okay, right? Like, and I think for you, I see that you set such a good example to just, right, like, let that go, accept our awkwardness, and just be. And I so deeply agree with that. That is, for me, is, you know, part of that whole value principle system of owning our mayhem. And I know that's why we connect so well, in that sense of, you know, my mayhem is my mayhem, and take it or leave it. I cannot continue to change and shift for each and every individual I meet or I come across. I am not that amazing Mystique. That is not me. But at the same time, you know, not focusing on the negativity. Oh no, there goes my camera. And then again, falling into our positive, like our positive qualities, our interests, our strengths, stuff like that. Let me see if I can get this camera to clean up a little bit. But for me, that's what I love, is to help others understand their own self-value and see their strengths and shine a little light when I can, hoping that when so many people have been turned away or told that they're not worthy or they don't fit the part or you should do something else, try something else, that those are not words to be taken to heart and personal, that you have to own your own strength. Like, you have to know yourself and not give in to those social, I want to say, stereotypes and stigmas that. So, God, this camera's really bugging me, Jason. I'm going to see if I can fix it.
It looks fine to me.
Oh, thank you. It's still a little blurry, but yeah.
So as looking back on when you were a kid, what's one part of your mayhem that you wish that, knowing what you know now, you would own it and just be proud of it, but that you didn't own back then because you were a kid and well.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm not sure. I was always just so rambunctious and mischievous and curious.
Mm.
And I've always tried to take those negatives and try to use them for good or turn them into a positive, and not take them in the way maybe they were intended. So like just growing up, things like you're going to be in trouble a lot when you get older. Like I think, going to end up in jail, stuff like that. And you're just like, what makes you say something like that to such a kid? But I think it was like my behavioral issues in the sense, and that I didn't want to fall into that, right? Like, because I'm like this, that means I'm going to be a criminal. I'm going to be in jail. I'm going to be committing like,
People
and
actually said that to you?
well, when I was young, yeah. So, but I don't know how to. So academically, I was really good. Like academically, I would get A's and B's. But I had some behavioral issues. Like I used to like to fight. I'd gotten in trouble. I've gotten suspended when I was a kid. I've got detention so many times. If you look back at my report cards, it always said DeeJae is like so smart, but if she would just apply herself or just focus more, and those things kind of stick with you, just like
Yeah.
she likes to get in trouble, right? DeeJae always gets in trouble, and she got in trouble. She was talking too much in class, or she doesn't pay attention, and like I think that just really affected me because I didn't want to end up a statistic, quote unquote. Whether it was this statistic culturally or that statistic. So I always tried to overachieve and focus on my strengths and not get lost. And I found a lot of excitement and passion and purpose in psychology and in like understanding other people and connecting with other people, that empath side of me. that's kind of kept me feeling like, okay, this is where I belong. This is the light that I can be okay over here. I can be safe over here, and I can do good over here.
So many kids struggle with behavioral issues and talking too loudly and not wanting to sit still and
Yeah.
so it's a big issue. So knowing what you know now, what would you tell the kid that you were back then?
I would tell her that not everybody has to like you. I thought everybody had to like me. And
Yeah.
like, if somebody would have been like, not everybody has to like you, you have to love you. That's what really matters.
Not everyone has to like you. You have to love you. Ooh.
Yeah, and I was just so, I started again focusing on what can I do for me, and really and that's something I love to talk about with other people. Not focusing so much on the external and the comparison game and what everybody else is doing and all that stuff, because that's just another extra level of garbage you got to get through. That's just too much.
As a kid, that game is so addicting. It's so addicting.
Yeah, it is. And so I think as a kid, I looked to fit in through sports, right? Because I did sports and I could get my energy out that way, and I was good at athletics.
What sports did you love?
Oh, well, as a kid, I played soccer. I played soccer a lot, and I ran track and field, so I was pretty good at running. I was a good runner when I was a kid.
That's
In high
awesome.
school. Yeah, and I did ROTC in high school, which was another crucial point that really gave me idea of what the military was. It exposed me to the life of the military and the qualities, like structure that the military provides. And I like structure. I like the structure from going to the gym, working out, right, and being on a team, and being part of a club in school. Like I love this. I love the sportsmanship aspect of athletics. I like the socialization. I like the teamwork. I felt that in the military. I felt like, okay, I can find camaraderie, people that have same goals, same missions. They're there with the same purpose. I think that's another thing that even kind of takes me to Toastmasters, if you want to talk a little bit about that, because it's those kinds of organizations that really help you with leadership. They really help you find, work on your own skills, your own growth set of, God, I just said that backwards. Your own set of growth skills or personal development, professional development really allows you to grow the way you want to. So I know I want to grow as a speaker. I know I want to grow as a presenter. I know. So I have to continue to challenge myself. I could wish it all I want, but I have to practice it. So I use my own advice, right? Like, my strength is I've always been, you talk too much. And it's like, okay, maybe I can make a business out of this.
That's awesome. So let's definitely get back to Toastmasters,
Oh, okay.
but first let's talk about I can't even say ROTC.
Okay.
How did you get involved in it, and like what I know kind of what it is, but what did it mean? Like,
Sure.
what activities were part of ROTC?
So part of the story of my story is, right, we're a veteran. I'm a veteran, and I joined the Air Force. Now,
Thank you for your service. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. I love my country. So I joined the Air Force I had multiple reasons. One of them being my uncles. My uncles were in the Army, and they said, honey, go Air Force if you're going to go military. So that's why I went Air Force. They were a big influence on me. My dad was the youngest of the brothers, and I've shared this. So I was like, okay, I'm the oldest. I'll join the military. This could be good for me. But I learned about ROTC in high school. I didn't do the college one. I went actually into the military to also help me go to college, right? It's one of those goals, like, keep moving forward. What do I want to do? I don't give up, right? There's got to be something else out there. There's got to be more to life than being this, or, just doing this every day. So I've always considered myself pretty ambitious, and it started early in my life. And a lot of that stemmed from, like, my independence, of just being so independent and just learning. I love to learn. So I think that was one of those key components in my life, that I'm still love to learn. And I also like to help other people, right, learn and grow. Now, I didn't become an educator, and I considered being an educator. That was one of those, decisions you make, like, what should I be? Should I be a teacher, or should I be, a guidance counselor, or should I be a therapist? Like, for me, those were kinds of some of those things that I was throwing around, like, want to go to college. What kind of impact do I want to make, right? Like, teachers, you work with kids, and you really want them to grow and mold into these individuals of society that are really going to contribute. And so I ended up mental health. I said to myself, I love mental health. I love psychology. I studied it in high school. And part of that was, so all these things kind of, they've always been inside me ever since I was young. I knew that I wanted to study psychology, and I was very curious about the human mind and emotion and our behaviors, and why are my problems, right? So it's almost like I was trying to figure out my problems by going to school. And I think that's common.
I'm shaking my head because I can relate to that.
Right. So it's like we're digging for answers academically, maybe. So, I mean, it was all of that, but that's never ceased, because I just find that it's so powerful, the human mind and our abilities to, choose, right? Rationalize and make these choices in our lives, and the power of our choices. And so I just, I don't study it so deep, but I'm just absolutely fascinated by it. And it's always just been such a part of my existential questioning of like why we're here, what am I doing here, what's my purpose? My purpose is people, my purpose is, now I've said this maybe not so much but you know, assisting people through their journeys, really being walking side by side someone, like a companion, right, through these hardships, through these parts. And it's usually the darker times. I've worked for the Department of Children and Families, where it's children in the system, right? Abandonment, neglect, abuse, different types of abuse. I've worked with people in group homes with intellectual disabilities and cognitive disabilities. So I've worked with all these different kinds of individuals, and it's always just been so rewarding to just see them reach their goals and achieve. So it's been so many different situations, and not one really comes up, but it's when you see somebody finally achieve a level of safety or achieve a level of like they can breathe because they found they got a break in what they're going through.
Wow. Well,
When
that sounds so rewarding.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's like when you get the job and you feel like you take a breath because you got a job and you have a sense of relief, and like things are going to be okay, and like you can kind of really like your body is not on that fight or flight mode. And so that is enjoyable, is watching people, helping people in crisis, going through these levels of crises, and then be like, okay, I'm still here. I'm still one piece. I got through that.
So you found great reward in meeting someone in crisis, helping them own the mayhem of the crisis, if you will, and then getting them to a point where they can maybe laugh again, enjoy a movie, enjoy time with people where they're not constantly thinking, oh my gosh, how did I get through this? Oh my gosh, how did I get through this?
Yeah. Nobody should live in that state, even though a lot of people do, unfortunately.
That is such a painful place to be in.
And you just want someone waiting for you, hoping, right, that you're still going to come out through it on the other side, right? That you really aren't alone in it, even though you are alone in it, right? It's you in your bed or on the bench or in the dark by yourself. But you just hope when the light of dawn comes that there's somebody there that was like, you're still here. You're okay. You're not alone, right?
And you've been that guy for a lot of people, be it kids or be adults with intellectual disabilities, kind of.
Yeah, my last guest. Yeah, so my last guest, we were talking about housing insecurity, homelessness, and just how every night, right? Every night is difficult, and she's on alert. You don't get a full night's sleep. You don't get a full night's rest. And so, you're just wait for that moment where they can say, okay, I'm safe tonight. I've got a safe bed. I'm eating. I'm fed. And you know that they're getting that breath of oxygen, right? And so I don't know. That's why like my last guest was really touching, and I wanted her to come on, Bonnie, and share her story because she's so grateful, and she practices gratitude, and she practices appreciation for every little thing, even though her situation is difficult. It's not ideal, but for her to be an example of that, so it's just so empowering, and the way she sees her perspective is just so valuable, and you just you want to appreciate and show I don't know, just that they are still wanted in this world, that you still want the best for them as much as that you can, whatever you can or can't do, right? And so she had buy me a coffee so people could donate and give, buy her a cup of coffee. And we pulled that up, or if I have someone that has a GoFundMe, for their situation if they need medical, right? Because medical is not cheap, whether it's medications or surgeries or care. So just things like that I find the strongest people in my work, in my line of work.
You find the strongest people in your line of work.
Yes.
Well, and Bonnie's in a more secure place right now.
Well, I hope so, right? Every night's a challenge for her. And if she can have housing for a few nights, for a weekend, for a week, you know, that's always good. So, but we hope that she gets stable housing, so, like a lease or an apartment or something. But I think that's why we goes back to these conversations and me, my show, and me being an advocate, and just, I mean, I could talk about myself, but that's not really, that's not what it's about. It's about their story and their situation, and people that have been there and have gotten through it, and people that might be on their path that way. You just never know, right? Like, I've often felt like I'm just one thing away from homelessness. It just takes, like anything that can knock you. And I think we've seen that a lot in social media. And I appreciate when people do open up to the realities of how difficult or like life can come and punch you in the gut, right? Or just knock the wind out of you, and just leave you paralyzed, disabled, just absolutely traumatized. And you've seen, even in the 1 to 2 years, I've been very much more active on social media. My heart always just goes out to those that can actually open up about their mayhem and share their stories. And those are the kind of influencers that I like. Those are the kind of influences that I feel that make the most impact.
The power of the power of a story is it helps other people have empathy, and also opens them up to the struggles in their own life. Like suddenly, I mean, and just what you've said in the last 10 minutes, homelessness is not a problem without a face, but a beautiful woman named Bonnie who is extremely grateful in spite of her challenges, and still struggling from day to day. Suddenly, homelessness has a face and suddenly it's a human being, and that's important. So you help people bring out stories for themselves, but also their stories influence others, huh?
Yes, I think so. I think that the more we hear it and we can make those relations and say, that could be me, or wow, that was me. So we still realize like we're all that vulnerable. I think it's important. Humble, right? Like staying humble. And I think those little bits of reality checks, even though it's not always the easiest conversation and it's not what you want to listen to all the time. And I understand that these are not subjects that thank you, Mackenzie. I appreciate the support. It's not always things that, oh God, they're shameful. It's hard to even open up about stuff like this. And then to just have to do it on your own. It continues to keep the system broken. I don't know. It's like I want to think of ways of how we can uplift people as things continue, like these social challenges. And so I just believe like everybody can make a difference. I'm like that person, right? Each of us can make a difference. And if we all do our part, and what is it? Unity in numbers or power in numbers. Like, I really do believe in all that. I'm just back for the.
What?
I said, I just, I just want to continue to let people know or encourage people to just know that, gosh, I don't even know how to say it. To encourage people that, yeah, their mayhem is okay. Their mayhem is totally okay. Like, get out there, get on camera, build your business, write your book, whatever it is your dream, right? Like, just don't let all that negative, external, social, you got to get through that because there's so much negativity on socials channels and in the news and just everything. And I know a lot of people talk about those kinds of distractions, like life distractions, social distractions, the speed, everything that comes at us. We look through our phones, our attention spans, all those kinds of other conversations that are out there. But I like to talk about people, not forgetting the people.
So and you're putting this all together in your business. You were telling me before the show about launching a new platform that combines community and storytelling. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I haven't really talked about this, so this is exciting, Jason, and it's the 31st. So, yes, next month. I've been working so hard on, and I've been passionate about trying to open up a community and have a community for people that want to do live streaming that don't feel that they may have the resources or the tools or the technology or the support system or the confidence to do it. And I want to provide a platform. I want to provide a community where they can come and they can feel safe and welcomed and empowered to learn what they want to learn and learn it as they want to learn it and know that there's support there. There's people there. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I'm going to be building it on the Mighty Networks. It's something I've been doing some research on extensively. And I'm really excited to be able to build a community that can come and we can kind of have these conversations, not only about the technical live streaming side of it, and that's the medium, right? That's the skill, the hard skill, the technical skill that you can learn. But for me, there's always so much more, right, than learning the technical skill. It's really about developing the personal skills, the confidence, the communication, the what is it? Like the energy, right? Working towards that and not doing it alone. And that's been the kicker. That for me, that's always the one thing I go, the principle that I want to build it a community for is that so you don't have to be alone. You don't have to feel alone.
And live streaming can feel very lonely, right? Because people are in the different houses or apartments across the country.
Oh, yes. I know. I mean, I've been doing this for 2 years and you're grinding and you get into the routine and the processes, but it does become lonely and there is a lot that is constantly going on. So I just felt like a community would just be such a great way for people to learn and to feel supported all in one. And I know that like that is, I think now more than ever is when we need more communities that, we can find that will fit. So I'm hoping that my community is unique enough and it provides a real genuine service to those that really fit that desire, the desire to live stream, the desire to be on video, the desire to amplify their voice and really build their own business, whatever that business is, whether it's their coaching business, whether it's their selling products business. But I want them to have that opportunity and to have such a powerful medium like live streaming available to them.
So someone might be listening and going, DJ, fine for you to say about live streaming. You have confidence. You've been doing it for 2 years,
Yeah.
I'm immensely shy. What would what would
Mhm.
you say to that person?
Well, I wasn't always, and I'm still not confident. So I I definitely can sound confident, but that takes practice. And I can be perceived as confident, but I'm still nervous. I've fumbled over my words a couple times already. You lose a sense of what you're going to say next, and I want people to know like that's normal and then that's okay, and that's actually part of live streaming. That's part of it, and to what we can do is have fun with it, right? Like
All we
it's
can do is have fun with it.
have fun with it, right? And changing our perspectives and saying, okay, I can do good with this. And
Oh.
it's not about me, and it's not about us. It's about the service or the gift that you're giving.
Mm.
I think that also creating that safe space and letting people blossom at their speed, that's okay too. If someone doesn't want to jump on camera right away, but they have that desire, right? Like they have like, well, I think I could do it. That's all you need is that little seed of hope. We all
Mackenzie says we all fumble on live.
oh.
In, in my work, I talk about the power of doing our imperfect best, and
Hmm.
what I mean personally, what it means to me is that we each decide on the best we want to go for, and towards the hope that lights us up, the seed of hope. But
Hmm.
and then we actually do it, and when obstacles and mistakes come up along the way, instead of being like, oh, see, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm just going to hide out and hide my mayhem. We say, oh, that happened, and learn from it, and then keep moving towards the best we envision.
Of
What
course.
what DJ? What does doing an imperfect best mean to you?
That just, to me, that is really embracing all my mayhem. That is just accepting it. And that can be so hard. That
Mm,
in
mm,
itself is hard. So I could tell the story. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's hard when someone tells you, a professional tells you something, and you're it's not what you expected, and you have to somehow accept it, and you have to
mm,
like sit on it, and you have to be
mm,
like, did I miss something?
mm,
Did I not see certain things? uh what
mm,
impaired me to
mm,
be. But I like insight, and I like to create insight, and I think that insight is such a valuable skill as well. So helping people achieve or learn or understand their own insight, because that in itself is a form of acceptance, and that can be so hard. So even trickling through those waters takes time.
Oh, so what's the difference between telling someone something and helping them come to their own insight?
Oh, well, I mean, so we can tell things to people all the time, and they can listen, they will not listen, they will like, ignore you, they will be thinking about whatever they want to be thinking about. But for me, it's finding that point of relation for them, for where it affects them, right? They understand, well, wait a minute, that affects me this way, and it makes them think about it for themselves. It's their own observation that they come to you can't force people to see what they don't want to see or can't
Mm.
see or refuse to see.
Mm.
But if you, and I feel like those the conversations we have, if we have them enough, like the dots will connect eventually, and they will see how how this is connected to them, how this is an issue that does affect you. This is closer to home than what you think.
So sometimes we have to have like these conversations more than once, huh?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think that also is off-putting sometimes when you talk about mental health or you talk about disability or talk about trauma. But if there's no development if we don't talk about it, if we don't bring it to the light, if we don't address the things that need to be addressed. And I think, I mean, we all learn that lesson the hard way. It's like, ooh, I should have listened sooner. And I would have saved myself a lot of heartache or embarrassment or a lot of anguish. But sometimes it is hard to I think sometimes it's harder for us to accept things, and then when like externally someone else points it out, or it's like, okay, well, if other people can see it, then I better deal with it, or I better like come to terms with it, or maybe then it is that much more real. And sometimes that kind of kicks us into like acceptance, a forced acceptance almost. And we're not ready. And then we get like, we want to fight. We still want to kind of challenge it. So it's, gosh, there's just a lot there. But I love these processes. These processes are important for growth.
You're talking about having tough conversations with people, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think so we all know like growth doesn't happen if we're not uncomfortable, right? Like you have to get uncomfortable to grow. And a lot of us don't want to get uncomfortable because being uncomfortable is
uncomfortable.
Right, uncomfortable. So, but creating that space where we can inch, and I heard this phrase, and you write and you read and you're really good with words and you're a poet. And what was it? I read it. It's a foot, an inch. I'm trying to think of it, what I heard. How we can, like, if you, an inch and a cinch, a foot. Oh, what is that phrase? Somebody, Mackenzie, if you're still listening, find that. There's like, it's a quote. And it just means like, if you look at things like a yard is hard. Yeah. Okay. If you look at things like if you do things, or a yard is hard and an inch is a cinch, right? So it just means like baby steps.
A yard is hard and an inch is a cinch.
Right. That I recently heard that in one of these inspirational like videos that I like watch, and I'm like, right. So it's reaffirming, it's reassuring to know like it's okay to do things a little bit slower, take your time. You can't compare yourself to what everybody else is doing. And when people seem like they're doing things a million miles a minute, that can also not be reality. So, right, it's going back to us and our own mayhem, and where we can be happy that in our mayhem and not feel that we are completely broken and we are completely we should get comfortable. Yeah, absolutely. But I just like to, yeah. Am I making any sense, Jason?
It's an extraordinary conversation because you're talking. There's so much to this, and it's a different way of living for a lot of people. Like,
yeah.
Like I think back to past generations where more of the norm was to hide everything and pretend that things were okay, and we're slowly looking at that and going, does that work? No, it creates a lot of issues, but it's still we've seen that, and at least for me, I've seen it in 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 beautiful older people I know in my family sometimes, and so it's difficult to form new habits
Yeah.
about like like so we can own our mayhem instead of being victims to our
Yeah,
mayhem.
exactly. Yeah.
What would you say about owning a mayhem versus being a victim to a mayhem?
Oh, that's a good question too. I think that if we can get to a place where we can own it, you will find yourself a lot happier. You will find yourself in a place of more peace, internal peace, and less weight, I feel, mentally, psychologically. So I feel, yeah, I think that to avoid and to disregard, neglect those sides of ourselves is not taking care of us as the whole person that we are, because that is a, and I guess you can insert your own whatever here, right? Because everybody has different mayhem. So generally speaking, um, you know, just being able to understand what we need and what we're going through, create our own boundaries. We didn't really talk on boundaries, but knowing our boundaries, setting boundaries, knowing that boundaries are a good thing, and for our own well-being, for our others to understand, are things that are just difficult but so important to maintain our own self-preservation. Those are just critical things. It's kind of like, and I know that's not always the easiest, right? Because sometimes you live with an abuser, right? Someone that's abusive, and you can't get away from that situation. And so, there's just these delicate situations, these sensitive situations, and issues that I can't really talk about, as to everything and all, but there is just lots of different kinds of mayhem. So just, safety. I feel like safety is something that should always comes up, whether it's our own physical safety, whether we're talking about homelessness or physical safety, lack of medical care or medication, whether it's situational, and I'm not going to get too much into like anything psychology, but we've all heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Even really, and I've always worked with those individuals that have really struggled to just meet that first level of basic needs. But that's why I said I have found the most strongest people in those situations. And they've taught me so many lessons in life, right? And the way to look at things, right? So like Bonnie going, like really understanding how to practice gratuity, graciousness or gratitude. Sorry, I'm running through all the words in my head. Gratitude and appreciation for when someone gets her a cup of coffee, or she wakes up the next day, and she slept a decent amount, or she's able to, go inside and get herself some water. Somebody's left her water or something to eat. So it's just just knowing that there's people that's very real, and that may be temporary, and that they can get to somewhere else, right? We can all work towards something else, for ourselves, for our own success. I mean, our own dignity.
So part of owning our own mayhem is realizing I'm dealing with this situation right now that feels chaotic, that feels very mayhemy. I just made the word up, mayhemy.
Love
But but I won't always be experiencing the situation in the same way.
Yeah.
Is that part of owning it, having hope for change?
Learning skills on how to manage, how to get through, how to, when you're going through this, when it cycles through, if it's something that cycles in your life, right? Understanding those cycles, understanding, being prepared, having your own plans of safety or stability or well-being, right? I guess what good coping skills, some would say, right? So, but you got to be aware. We got to be insightful. That's how we get to our best selves.
So first step maybe is being honest about our individual mayhem, and then doing what it takes to find tools to deal proactively with our mayhem in a way that helps us move forward the best we can.
Yes. Yeah. You did so good. You took good notes, Jason.
Well, I am simply listening to you, and
oh, well, I appreciate it. I mean, this has just always been, again, sitting on the sidelines, right? Or when people are constantly refused or denied or shut the door in their face, or just said not now, come back later, or we can't help you, or there's nothing we can do. Oh God, that's the worst. And how many times, right? For every 100, 500 no's, like just that one yes, right? That kind of gets you to the next spot, to the next, but
so last two questions.
yeah.
What would you say to someone who's listening, who's living a very comfortable life? I mean, in terms of the basic needs are taken care of, and then how would you suggest they help out when there's so much need in the world?
Oh, that's a good one. So for me, I think we can kind of consider what we're passionate about and how we can contribute, right? How we can contribute with our businesses, with our community, our community service, right? Finding ways to implement things like that to really contribute in some other way. And I know there's lots of people, like you made a fine point about like people that are well off and people that are, not really in the need, have their basic needs met, and really encouraging them to understand like the social situations that of other people, right? That they're not in that situation. And I guess that goes back to the insight, right? Like this affects them in some capacity. How does it affect them? How can they be part of the solution? How can they contribute and give back to the greater good, the greater social cause, whatever that social cause is for them? Because I'm not here to say you need to have this social cause as your number one belief. Like I advocate for mental health, disability, and trauma, but we all have these like inner social situations that we can relate to, right? Maybe we had a parent that was an alcoholic, or we have someone that passed away from some other tragedy, and there's something inside you that's already touched you. So it's really like using that within you to find how you can do a greater good and how you can be better as a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor to your staff, to your organization, to those that are around you, your colleagues, your coworkers. You know, and I think that it does come from the top, you know, and I worked in the workforce board. So I've worked with businesses and helping them understand the importance of accessibility for a job seeker, and to get through to have the opportunity to apply for that job and get like that, have that right. So it affects everybody, and accessibility affects everybody, and it's everyone should be doing what they can to be inclusive, to be compassionate, to be understanding of what people keyword people in their organization, in their business are honestly, genuinely, truly going through. So yes, the work must get done, but I mean, those are all entities, right? Souls, spirits, people that have lives and families and have all these other things, issues. So, but that's for every company and leadership team.
I love
kind of address.
I love your reminder that we affect each other, that everyone's life affects everyone else's. So it's so to really honor that sense of interconnectedness and be respectful of each other and help out. And you also mentioned sometimes we can serve by, sometimes we've gone through something and we can serve because of that, or find our service because of that. And our friend Tim Solon is a perfect example of that. He had the experience of having leukemia, and luckily is now past that, but he's helping out in such big ways.
Yeah.
Through his shows and.
Yeah, no, he's doing great. And like that in itself, right? Him becoming an advocate in his own way for his own purpose and his own mission, and all the change, all the good that he's doing now because he took that step forward to voice and share his story. And now how it's just rippling and impacting, and even all the work he's done with the money he's raised for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So see, one person can just have this amazing ripple effect of we love you too, Tim. So, I just seeing when you see someone like comes to that acceptance like Tim did, and just sharing it, and it just makes it just makes our whole community stronger, right? And it makes our whole community that much more, I want to say, united in a way. Like there's a sense of strength that comes with that.
A sense of will strength and a sense of understanding too.
So, so support paging. So supporting, right? Like continuing to support him and his mission. And I just wish I could just kind of make it to his in-person event. Darn it, Tim! I'm so sorry.
He's putting on this amazing in-person event.
I was thinking about that today too. And
you're in Florida, and I'm in South Dakota, and
I'm going to be traveling somewhere around that time. I think after, so I don't want to do two trips too close. So I apologize, but I mean, just keep moving forward and just following that greater good, right? That finding what his calling and what really resonates with him to build his community building. So community building, I'm telling you, the power of community.
And then the showing up with cancer empowers the I'm sorry to misquote your show. Showing up perspectives on cancer, it empowers the guests, it empowers the listeners, and when they're empowered, they can ripple out that power to empower others. And one final thing, and then I have a question. Whoever is watching now or later, we can feel so alone, but this is the power of the and I talk about this. This is the power of the internet and connection tools. Like I haven't met either Tim or DeeJae in person yet. We've connected through LinkedIn and Facebook and various things, and now we're friends. So wherever you are, know you have mayhem like we all do. Know you have a story like we all do. Know you can take steps forward like we all do, and know you can page spam like only Tim does. Well, I do it
Oh
too.
gosh, that's so cute. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I saw the banana picture or something. I saw y'all's banana picture.
It was amazing. We got on just zooming with each other, and we both happened to be eating a banana. It was just so unique.
That's cute.
If someone's listening and says and thinking in their head, thinking in their head, I have a story, I have mayhem, but I'm really shy. But I really want to get into live streaming, and I really want support. What's the best way to contact you, DeeJae?
Yes.
To find out more about you.
Sure. So my website, silverfoxtalks.com, has any contact information. If you want to schedule a call with me or a virtual call, we can jump on the Zoom. If you want a one-on-one, like production, live streaming, we can talk about that. And like I said, I'm building my mighty network. I'm building my community. So if they want to come over there, hopefully I'll be putting a lot more information. Silver Fox Talks. Gotta put talks.
I thought it rhymed, but then I wrote it and I'm like, it doesn't rhyme because
that's okay.
One word.
So, yep, Silver Fox Talks. And then
details are important, everyone. Details are important.
Oh, it's all good. So yeah, I'm really excited though about this mighty network, and so I'm gonna have all the information on my website. I think that's gonna be the best. And you know how important newsletters are and email. So just hopefully signing up for my email newsletter, and they can stay connected through that, because that's important. I gotta send out those emails. Email marketing. But if you're interested in live streaming and you want to do it in a community setting, community format, then
I very much encourage you all to connect with DeeJae, even if you're like, I don't know, I kind of want to do this, but I don't know. Just the process of connecting and starting to get the newsletters can be so inspiring, and you can still be like, I don't know, but that inspiration will help you move to where you want to go. So Thank you
Yes.
so much for all you do, DeeJae.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for owning your mayhem. Thank you for being you.
I'm excited. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ah, this is so what I love to do. Talk to people about not only the things that are important to them, which is fascinating in and of itself, but also how they're using what is important to them to encourage others to live the imperfect best lives, and DeeJae is an exceptional example of that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Next week, my guest is Ann Wilson. She's she's been on adventures. She's been an advocate. She's an educator. She's phenomenal. So thanks so much for your time this week, and please tune in next week, next Wednesday. Until then, have a awkwardly awesome week. And that's probably the first time I've said that, but that makes sense to wish you an awkwardly awesome week. I'm heavy on the awesome, hopefully. But some awkward might come up, and that's part of life and part of our stories. Anyway, have a good week.